Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we are up to episode 25 of Evolve, and we're going to review it here tonight. I can't believe, it's been solid because the thing is, if you look at the other in the history things that WWE's done, that's like side stuff, a lot of it falls flat. Like it either is not good or just doesn't have momentum or just doesn't work out. Like main event, I feel like is that way because 90% of main event is just reviews of other shows. Doesn't need to happen. They need to fix that. Speed seemingly is gone. Needed to fix that too. Because again, speed would have worked out. I think it's if they would have made it a legit show and made it at least 2 3 matches. I just think there's a lot of stuff that they could have changed on it. But Evolve has kind of figured out the formula. And when I say they do, most of the time when they do the 3 match formula and promos in between, it ends up being a fairly decent show. And maybe a little bit of a spoiler, this is a 3 match show. So let's jump into it. So we started off with Kylie Ray versus Chantel Monroe. Obviously, two of one of the like I would say stronger or more well-known characters so far or wrestlers that they have on the women's division. The women's division is just so stacked with like having so many people that could be used in different areas that they can kind of throw these random matches together that necessarily not really I would say like fit story wise because like they had a little bit but not enough to really justify a match, but just enough that we need to see these two on there. Now everything about this match I thought was really solid up until towards the ending. I know the story that they were trying to tell is that like Kylie Ray wasn't going to win clean or she's going to lose not clean and like not really worked. It didn't really work for me on this one. I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly. But with Monroe, like obviously she's a heel and like she has that, but it's not like she didn't really cheat. She just kind of did something a little underhandedly. And Kylie Ray is the ID champion. Now, I know the reason why it feels weirder to me because this was definitely recorded before she's won the ID championship. And if she's supposed to be like the top woman on the indies, she kind of needs to be booked that way. I don't feel like her beating Chantel Monroe would have been that bad for Chantel Monroe. Like it feels way worse for the other thing overall, although I thought the match was still pretty solid, they had some good back and forth, and they let them go out there and do some stuff. Like they had some extra moves that they don't normally have. That it didn't feel like a cookie cutter match. It just felt like a solid, good match to put on Evolve. So solid B for me. Next up, we have one of many segments. I didn't put them in the exact order because there's so many. Honestly, not necessarily upset with that because they were done really well. But this one I think was probably one of the better ones with the Vanity Project. Obviously, not being on the same page, trying to get onto that same page, and I think it's leading to further storylines, even with maybe Donovan turning face against them, whatever that decides to be. I think this is definitely one of the hotter storylines in general. Obviously, you have the Evolved Champion in there, so it makes it a lot better. But I think, like Jackson Drake, even though he doesn't seem to have to have defended the title as much or it's like as big of a deal, I think the title still roughly feels like higher up on a pedestal because, you're like you're involved with this whole faction and everything. So overall, I'll put this in a solid A. Obviously, they're still working on the backstage stuff that which is still a developmental. So like I kind of grade it in that way because it's like was this if this was a segment that we put on Raw, this thing would not be that great even with the storyline because obviously they're still trying to get the acting and all that type of stuff back there. But for Evolve, I thought it was superb, and it fit the rest of the show without seeming completely out of the blue. Then we have Keanu Carver talking about still taking out the ID program and what he's done. Keanu Carver has just the worst timing of anybody's career so far because if Obafemi didn't exist, this man would have already been on NXT and pushed exactly like Obafemi because he has the same build, the same like just ferociousness. I'd say almost he has like almost like a core strength that might even be better than Oba, but I think his character's a little bit. He's still struggling to get a hold of it, but like he's gonna have those comparisons for a while. So unfortunately, he's kind of like stuck in there, which where they're gonna leave him in Evolve, and hopefully Obafemi gets the call up very soon. And once he gets that call up, I think it'll be a lot better for Keanu Carver to make a NXT spot. But yeah, I like this. I've been liking his hunting the ID program people. It I think it's going to lead to him taking the belt off Jackson Drake. I think he's the best candidate for that to happen. Next up, we got Swipe Right versus what is it? Marcus Mathers and Aaron Roque. Um, I think they said they were like Marshall Mathers and I'm gonna always say Marshall Mathers because of freaking Eminem, but Mathers and Roque that they're like a tag team on the Indies. They had some pretty decent chemistry. I do think I like Marcus the best out of those two. I think Marcus has like a really cool like vibe to him. Like I don't think his like necessarily his character work from what we've seen. Obviously, it's very little. I would say like I really care that much about it, but his in ring work I think is one of the top performers in the this whole organization. If you just kind of look at what he does, the selling, his delivery, everything about it. And I think Brad Baylor's kind of similar on that side. I think he does pretty good about selling and doing that type of stuff. I think he still has a long way on the mic. Obviously, with Ricky Smokes, I think that helps them kind of balance it out because I think Ricky Smokes is a little bit more comfortable on the mic. He just doesn't get as much mic time. But overall, this match I thought was a really solid. I'd put it in a solid A. Like I really enjoyed it. They had a lot of good stuff. They obviously the ending is just with Vanity Project cheating to win it. Predictable, yes, but did I still enjoy it? Yes, I still enjoyed the match. Then we had Kendall Gray. She's going to be going after Randy Chu. Um, Honestly, I don't even remember the promo until I saw it like afterwards when I was getting the pictures. I think what it is, I had somebody come in and I just completely missed it. But needless to say, this feud with Wendy Chu, if she defeats Wendy Chu, I think will be a very good, stepping stone for her. She obviously just had a match at NXT again, so I think they're pretty high on her, and I don't see necessarily why not because she's been doing great. So I'll put this up in A. Next up, we had Inskull and Troy Yoward going back, doing like a nice little gym day. It seems like they might be some type of tag team. I think they have some pretty good chemistry. I definitely don't like Inskull. It's not one of my character or one of my wrestlers I like at all. But this did make it a little bit better. I kind of chuckled at it, and I thought it was pretty decent. So I'm actually gonna put this up in S tier, and I can't believe I'm saying that with an Inskull thing that it's just I do like this combination. It does fit really well for me, and I wouldn't mind seeing it as a tag team, um, down the line. Then we had the news that Callie Armstrong was asking who her next opponent is going to be. Nikita Lyons try to jump in there. We also obviously had Carmen win and Chantel Monroe win the Eliminators, so they're going to make it a triple or a fatal four way. I'm not necessarily opposed to this. I do think it's going to be a lot on the episode because normally when they do those fatal four ways, they don't give them enough time. Like at least with like the gauntlet one that they did for the championship, it was like elimination, so like it felt like they could get some stuff, but it's kind of weird. Obviously we got two ex NXT people. We got two kind of rookie people. I think it should be an easy Callie Armstrong retain, but it's going to be a good one to put like a feather in her cap to beat all of them women. If not, I would say I guess if I would think that if Callie's dropping the belt, it would be to Carmen. But even then, I feel like that's not the fate. I think Monroe takes the pin here. I think that's why they gave her the win against Kylie Ray because it's nice and good. And then she then takes the L here, which isn't that bad when you have a big group like this. So I'm putting up an S tier. Can't wait to see the match. Been liking this storyline and been liking Callie Armstrong as champion. Then we got I had their names, but now I don't remember. But they're going after Adrenaline Drip. I know it's Harley and God, I can't remember the other guy's name now. I had it down in my notes, and then I think I moved some stuff around, and I forgot to write their names down on a different piece of paper. But yeah, I mean they're honestly fine. I feel like it's hard to go against Adrenaline Drip. I think they both had a match in Evolve. I could be definitely misremembering, but overall it wasn't anything too crazy. I put it in C. Probably the worst part of the show, which isn't that bad. Next up, we had Ridge Harlan versus Shawn Legacy. Now, this one just kind of sucked because we knew that Ridge wasn't going to lose here because obviously he's been on the main roster. He's been on NXT. Losing to somebody like Shawn Legacy who's up and coming isn't necessarily what he's going to do. I think it would have done numbers for Shawn Legacy. Like this, him beating Ridge Holland would have literally put a fire under him. That would have been good. I know they were trying to set up for what the second part of this is with Ice Williams, but I still think they should have done pulled the trigger here because Ridge Holland's fine, but like he's probably just gonna take the random L to like Tate Wilder later, and I don't think that's gonna be the case that we need it to be here. But this match overall, I thought was pretty good. They had some really good lifts and slams and stuff, which is basically what Ridge Holland is kind of known for, and kind of all his wrestling is. Nothing bad about that. It's not really a bad thing, but I think it definitely did bring back what Sean Legacy could show up in probably one of his worst matches, just because he kind of had this and the Kiana Carver match where he was facing like a behemoth type person, but he doesn't get to show off his stuff because it doesn't work for the character that he's going against. So that's unfortunate for him. I'd put a solid B in it. I do think I like the tag match way better. I think I like this match slightly better than the opening match, but it wasn't too much of a difference. B, I still think it's solid to put on the show. Anything B and above on Evolve, if it's in that category, I think is still a great thing. And then after the match, Sean Legacy was like confronted by Ice Williams, which I know Ice Williams a little bit. I've seen a couple of his matches. He's pretty pretty decent. I do like that this like feud is going on for day or not days, but like weeks and weeks. So I think that kind of thing is always good. So I'm gonna put up an S here. I'm excited to see what happens. The only thing I would say with the feuds that honestly is kind of a little bit harder with Evolve is that sometimes they take almost 3 weeks to brew. Because like even in this Harley one versus Adrenaline Drip, they had an interaction last week. They had then this interact or like this little promo. They're definitely not having a match next week, and so by the time they get to that time where they probably actually have the match, it's now 4 weeks between shows, and I think that is the one issue that they have because even the Kendall Gray, Wendy Chu match, like they should have had that on this show, but it got bumped to next week's show, and we already know next week's 3 matches unless they add a fourth randomly. The 3 matches, like they're solid, but like they didn't get they were all storylines catching up to this, except for maybe the elimination one, because we've kind of already been setting up that was going to take at least 2 weeks to do it. So it's like I like it. I think that they've definitely have that, but some of that pacing needs to be figured out. Maybe like only 3 weeks or maybe 2 weeks. Like I definitely feel like it doesn't have to be week to week, but definitely needs a little bit more than that if you're going to have multiple storylines. Because it's cool, like multiple storylines gives multiple people shots, give people opportunities to show off, and so you don't want to limit all your people. But I think with having those main ones, it limits the fans actually getting involved in the storyline and like waiting around. But I think overall, I put this episode as a solid. I'd probably say A minus. I think it was still pretty good for being the 25th episode. Definitely wasn't probably my top 5 episodes, but I think it was still pretty strong to be in there, and a lot of those matches were pretty good. So if you guys like these Evolve content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We do Evolve every week. Obviously with NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, we do those too. But I've not missed Evolve yet because it's been a pretty fun show. So if you guys enjoy it, make sure you like. Bye guys.